What is happening, everybody? Welcome to the Big Shred Podcast. I am John Matos, and happy 422 if you're one of the many stoner folks listening to some death metals. Today is part 2 of 420, so I hope you're in your house, you're following proper quarantine protocols, you're smoking all the delicious nuggage, and you're here hanging out with us, enjoying another Wednesday evening podcast. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. Got a really great show set up for you guys today. So I've got Mike Lowe from Inferi and Artisan Era on the show, as well as Matt McGachy from Cryptopsy and Vox&Hops. Some great folks. Got some really cool stuff going on in the abiotic world this week as well. If you hung out with us on our 420 stream, we did a live stream on 420, did a little kind of live smoke sesh that was presented by Brutal Glass and Metal Sucks. And we actually premiered a live music video for Emerald, which is the last or the most recent song that we've put out. So if you haven't checked out Emerald, if you haven't checked out the live music video, if you weren't on that stream, you can head over to YouTube, and it is on the Metal Sucks YouTube channel. Big shout out to Metal Sucks for premiering that video for us. It's a live video from our tour with Suffocation and Belphegor. Our good buddy Mark Muller, or Mueller, if I'm pronouncing that right, buddy, let me know. He shot that for us, edited it for us, and I thought it came out great. It's pretty sick to see all the great shows. Just, you know, it feels like shows have been gone forever. So I thought it came out at the right time to kind of make people feel like they were at a show again. So if you haven't had a chance to check it out, definitely do so. Leave some comments. Let us know what you think. And yeah, if you haven't done so, please do. Some cool things for the podcast. So I've actually got 2 episodes of the podcast on Spotify. So the first 2 official episodes, first one's a little bit of an introduction, and the second one is the first interview. Pretty proud of that. This thing all stemmed from just wanting to do live streams with some industry friends and really shine a light on how the coronavirus is affecting the industry folks, the music industry folks, and answer some questions and things like that. And then also to have you guys get to know people in the bands that hopefully you really like, and see that they're fucking regular people just like me and you. So I think it's been a lot of fun so far. Again, this is episode 7, or the 7th live stream. And if you've been hanging out since the beginning, it's real sick. Otherwise, you, like I said, can check it out on Spotify. I've also got a YouTube channel, so I'm going to do a plug here. So we've got the YouTube, we've got Instagram, Twitch, Twitter. I'm still figuring Twitter out. I don't really fuck with Twitter too much, but it seems pretty useful. So follow us on all those fucking things. And I'll be posting all these live streams unedited up on the YouTube, and then we'll be up on Spotify as well. So before we get into bringing Mike on, definitely, if you guys have any questions for Mike or for Matt, drop those in the comments. We'll be going through them as we usually do. And also a question for you guys. Drop some names in the comments on who you'd like to see on the podcast. I've got some really great guests lined up for probably the next month and a half, but always looking for some great ideas. If there's anybody in particular you'd like to see, I will do my best to reach out and see if I've got any pull at all on getting some of those folks on there, or on here rather. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and bring on tonight's first guest, Mike Lowe from Inferi and Artisan Era. Mike, how are you doing today, man?
What's going on, man?
Not much. Thanks for coming on and hanging out on the Big Shred podcast on a Wednesday evening. What's
how do you do it?
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. And this is interesting because this is probably, abiotic is on the label, but this is the first real like conversation that we've had,
Yeah, I don't think
not
we've actually
online.
like, spoken to each other yet,
Yeah,
other than through like emails and Facebook Messenger.
exactly. So this is cool. This is one of my favorite parts about doing the podcast, because I feel like I've got so many friends and, quote unquote whatever, acquaintances in the music industry, and doing the podcast has really made it to where I can have in-depth conversations with some of these awesome people, and it's not like you're at a show and trying to talk to each other in a green room where there's like 50 people in it, or you're like in a crowd and like, yeah, what are you guys doing next week, or what's your next tour, and so it's a cool platform to be able to do that. So how's quarantine treating you, man? What's going on in your world with the
Uh,
coronavirus shit?
well, I haven't really been quarantined. So I've got a part-time job. I'm still working. Um, I work for a company that makes paleo and keto meals, and it's all delivery. It was already all delivery, so nothing's really changed. Business has been pretty steady because people that are on those diets are really strict about them.
Yeah.
So, you know, business has been steady. I work like 25 to 30 hours a week. And then, like, the rest of my personal income was from touring, which obviously isn't happening right now.
Yeah.
Um, so it's been a little bit rough, but been spending time like making playthrough videos and like writing and learning new Inferi songs and stuff.
Sick.
Learning old Inferi songs that we've never played live. Um, Planting vegetables in my garden.
Okay.
Doing a lot of old man shit like around the house. Like pressure washed my driveway a couple days ago. Um,
Nice.
Trimming my hedges.
You get to a certain age when that shit's exciting, and I just bought a house, actually not just, it'll be coming up on a year in May, I think. Yeah, I think May. And yeah, fucking getting a lawnmower and cleaning, like you said, pressure washing your driveway, that shit gets exciting at some point in your life.
Yeah, it does. You're like, wow, I did something.
Yeah, I'm working on a vegetable garden myself, or gonna be working on one very soon. Me and the wife, and yeah, taking this time for sure to get some housework in, some music work in. So glad that you're, not to say that it's bad if you're not taking advantage of the time, but glad to hear that you are taking advantage of it, and doing some productive shit.
Yeah, I'd say so. We've got uh, like Malcolm just started doing the riff dissection videos, or he put out the first one a couple weeks ago. So he's got another like 4 or 5 planned out, I think, and I'm planning on filming one next week. So
Sick.
it's gonna be an old song from a song that we've never played live too. So it's been like relearning that one's kind of like really tricky, and then having to explain it. Uh,
Yeah, that shit's fun though, dude. Like, and it's, never a better time, right? To really get to dig in and relearn those songs, and put out some solid content. And it's a time where people are consuming that content probably more than ever, or more than in a very long time.
oh yeah, for sure.
So I think that's a pretty good segue into probably one of the spicier topics that we can talk about. So, you being a co-label owner, you're also in an active, kind of obviously modern and relevant band at the moment. Do you feel like it's a good time to put a record out? Are people kind of really itching for that content, because everyone, for the most part, if you're non-essential, or are stuck at home, and this would be a good time to get your music in people's ears? Or is it from a label standpoint like, I don't know if that's a great idea, because you can't tour on it, and how that looks in the quote unquote, in the industry, and all that shit? What do you think?
Well, I don't really know because this has never happened before.
Yeah, it's fair.
Um, so Malcolm and I have just been kind of feeling things out. Obviously, we want bands to go tour on the releases that we're putting out.
Yeah.
And we just put out 4 albums already this year within 2 months, which has been like, I feel just really weird about having put albums out, and these bands have, some of them had dates planned and they can't go play them, and really sucks.
Yeah.
Going forward though, like, I don't know, I don't think it's a great time to put anything out personally, just for that reason. We've been pretty hesitant. Like, we've got a band that's on the label already that was going to put out a new single, like, I think earlier this month or something, or maybe it was early next month. And we decided to push that back a little bit just to kind of feel things out. But I don't really know. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, coming from a band that just signed to a label that is working on an album?
Yeah, it's fair, and we're still, obviously we're getting in the studio next month. Luckily, we've got most of our guys in Massachusetts, and our drummer is actually doing the engineering of the record, doing all the tracking with us. So we've been fortunate that pretty much that part of our schedule hasn't really hit any speed bumps. But once we get the record finished and mixed and mastered, it's an inevitable conversation that our team is going to have, right? So I think I land somewhere in the middle, just because I know, and again, we'll quote unquote the industry. I know how the industry works, and this is a comeback record for us. We haven't put a record out in literally 5 years. Actually, our last record just turned 5 2 days ago, so I actually forgot to mention that in the intro. Shout out to the 5th anniversary of Casuistry, and for everybody who's been listening since then. But so obviously I want our comeback record to do well. I obviously, want to sell some albums and be able to, do some tours, and everybody, I'm sure at this point, is aware on how important first week numbers reflect on what kind of tours you get and all that good stuff. So it'll be an interesting situation to see how the industry responds to that, because obviously record sales are going to be lower. Obviously show attendance when shows come back, I think it's going to take a little while to build up. There's going to be apprehension. It's a little bit, I think there's going to be apprehension. I know there's going to be people dying to get out to shows as well. But I just think in my gut, there's going to be some apprehension, and there's going to be a few bands that will quote unquote like take one for the team and start things off again. But I think we have to prepare for the worst, hope for the best, and really, as a collective industry, whoever the elders or whatever the fuck in the industry, whoever those people are, need to fucking understand that bands are not going to be doing as well as they used to, and expectations need to be tapered a little bit, and everybody needs to be cut some fucking slack. I think anyway.
Yeah. I don't really know if shows are going to be when touring starts back. I don't think as many people are going to come out. Will they even allow as many people in the door? Is everybody going to have to stand 6 feet away from each other?
Right.
Personally, I like playing a show and looking out and seeing like a pit and people getting into it and everything.
Yeah.
But, that's going to take away from everything too.
Yeah. It's going to be difficult, and especially with how different states handle it too. So depending on how all this shit is being handled, because I mean the government's a fucking mess right now with how all of this is kind of being worked out, where the governors and then we'll call it the executive branch are not exactly seeing eye to eye on when things are gonna start kind of opening up again. So there's going to be fucking places of the country that are going to be okay with shows, and then that might, who know, cause bands to try and get out too early. It's going to be a weird time, man.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I'm of the opinion that we need to be patient during all of this. We need to not be out in the street fucking protesting. I can't with the protesters right now, and I've been watching videos, and it's so ridiculous to me. And I mean, wherever you stand on the political spectrum, whatever, but don't go out and protest a virus and stand in a group of hundreds of people or whatever. If it's like 12, I don't know. It's a really small percentage too of people that are doing that. But so I'm not going to say that there's hundreds, because I don't know that there is, but whatever. If you're in a group of like a few dozen people, and you're I don't know. I saw some shit where there were counter protesters, nurses, and shit like that. I think if I'm right, the band Varamia, one of their guys is a nurse, and he was out counter protesting, like telling people like, no, this shit is real, and people were like calling them actors and all kinds of shit. It's mind blowing, dude.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, as soon as everything's opening back up, there's going to be a second wave, and I feel like it's going to put us right back in the same boat. So I don't know. It's such a weird time to be alive.
Yeah. This timeline is real strange. It's real strange. So you did say some releases have been kind of postponed and pushed. Are there some bands that we can shout out to? Maybe not, obviously not give anything away if they've got anything under wraps, but any bands that that I can say, hey, go buy some merch and support these bands. I know Flub, for example, was supposed to be out on a tour, and I spoke with Eloy on like the second episode of the show. And so definitely, if you haven't checked Flub out, check them out. Go buy some merch from those guys, because they were supposed to be out on a sick tour right now.
Yeah, man. Like, I feel like half of our bands were supposed to be on the road or about to be on the road. I know Inanimate Existence and like Singularity and Warforged and Symbolic have either had tours canceled, or like I think they're going to be canceled if they haven't been yet. But as far as like if you want to support, buy the stuff that we put out this year. Erroneous just put out an album 2 months ago. We actually had like 2 double release months back to back, which like I hate, but we kind of had to do it that way. So Erroneous, like crazy talented tech band from Wisconsin. Check them out. Sutra from Montreal just put out their new EP, and then we like simultaneously released their first album on the same day too. So we actually had like 3 releases that day. And then Myth of I and Symbolic both came out still April, right? I don't even know. Yeah, this month.
Yep.
So I would say like if you want to support us, that'd be great. Buy any of that stuff. In lieu of like a lot of new releases this year, what we're kind of planning on doing is releasing vinyl from like our back catalog.
Nice.
And we've also put out a couple vinyl releases, just like licensed albums that have never come out on vinyl too. So there should be a couple of those this year as well. Like we've done a couple Spawn of Possession albums, and Zenith Passage was another one.
Yeah, I did see that. And I gotta say, you guys, and I may be a little bit biased obviously now, but you guys put out some of the sickest vinyl I've ever seen, and it just makes me so stoked that we're finally gonna get some vinyl, man.
Yeah, I'm stoked about it.
Yeah, so go out and support all the bands. Obviously we're all pretty tight right now, so if you have the means, of course, go out and support all of these bands on the Artisan Era. Again, not just because Abiotic is on the Artisan Era, but also because those bands are all separately super sick, and we are extremely humbled to be on a label with such awesome talent. So,
hell yeah.
Cool. So speaking of Abiotic vinyls, So Mike here has had an opportunity to actually check out the art for the new record. So our the cover art is 100% done. It's been done for a little bit actually, and if you know me personally at all, you know how difficult it is for me to sit on anything at all for the band. So not showing you guys even like a corner of this artwork has been like haunting my dreams.
Yeah, it sucks having to hold on to stuff like that.
Yeah. And Mike has also heard some pre-production too, so wanted to see if you wanted to give people some insight or your thoughts on what you've heard, what you've seen from the new Abiotic.
It's definitely the best abiotic I've heard to date. I mean, of course, I like the old stuff too, but like hearing the new stuff has been fantastic. Um, let's see. I liked the single Emerald that came out what last summer, or when was that?
Just about a year ago now, actually.
Okay. Uh, that was like a really good comeback track. It had like a lot of cool, catchy guitar riffs and leads and stuff, and then like the all the gravity blasts and stuff. Like I don't think I've heard gravity blasts in a while, so that was cool to like throw those back in there, you know.
Yeah, we had to go ham on that first track back.
Yeah, dude. And you guys just put out that video. What was it, 2 days ago? So,
Yeah, 2 days ago, 420.
yeah, that's great. The artwork is great, man. I love it. It's like really unique, and I'm looking forward to like hearing what people think about it. And just like the whole completion of the album and everything. So
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I'm super excited with like the theme that we're going with on the album with all of the art and stuff like that. So obviously, without giving too much away, I think people, like you said, I again, coming from a little bit of a biased place, I do think it's unique and different for the genre, and really hoping that people dig it. With that, actually, we've got a little bit of movement here in the chat. So I'm going to say what's up to a few folks. So what's up, George G, Benjamin Woodard. He said, nice, stoked to be able to hear the episodes that I missed. He also said, rest in peace to all the good times we were about to have. I know.
yeah.
George G says, hashtag old man shit. I guess it's when we were talking about doing shit to our houses. Rad. So like we were talking a little bit about before, so I feel like, one thing that really intrigued me and kind of solidified, I guess why Abiotic decided to sign with Artisan was because you and Malcolm are co-label owners, and like I mentioned before, in bands right now that are modern and relevant, and you're in the touring game. So I feel like personally that gives you guys kind of a leg up, where there may be some people on the label side of things that are not as tapped into what we do on a day-to-day basis. So wanted to kind of get your thoughts on what it's like to run a label and be in an active, basically full-time touring band, how you guys juggle that shit, because I know it's got to be insane.
Yeah, man. Let's see. What was the first part of that question? Like, I already forgot what I was going to say.
I might have forgot what the first part of the question was as well. No, so the first part of the question was just me, saying how I was inclined to sign with Artisan. One of the big reasons was because you guys are also in an active band,
yeah.
as well as label owners. So wanted to get your take on how you feel that gives you an advantage on, because obviously Artisan Era has really been blowing up over the last probably few years now, and kind of what your thoughts are on that, and then, how you guys juggle it.
I guess first, I can't really like speak on what it's like to have a label and not be in a band. But I guess like how we choose to run things is just kind of like being more like artist minded you know.
Yeah.
I've seen offers before from other labels, and just they're just raping them on their sales and everything, and
Right.
not helping them out in any way. And I've heard a lot of really bad stories about certain labels. So we just try to be like artist friendly. Um, but
Who are those labels? No, I'm just kidding.
uh,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
uh, um, it's definitely like a struggle when we're out on tour, though. We have to get a little bit of help from other people to run things back home, you know, as far as like shipping and like we can handle most of the email stuff anywhere, but
Yeah.
um, actually, our buddy Chris, who's like the original second guitar player for Inferi, he's been helping us out with shipping for probably about like a year now.
Nice.
So we pretty much just been leaving that to him. Not so much recently, but just because like we haven't really been wanting to have anyone around us like while we're shipping stuff, just due to like the current situation.
Totally fair,
But
yep.
you know, once everything kind of eases down, he'll continue to help us out. But anyways, that aside, it's kind of a struggle sometimes, but like somehow we manage it, I guess.
Nice. Any tips on uh folks who are their dream is to own a label and be in a band and just not have any free time in their lives at all?
No, just pick one or the other.
Do one or the other, guys. So we've got somebody. George says Artisan Era is the label. Every single band on it is sick. I agree,
Yeah.
George.
Josh is great. I love that guy.
Killer. So do you guys do, typically in a label there are, there's the owners and then there's A&R and there's like a few different branches and things like that. Is that really kind of you and Malcolm right now where you guys do most of the A&R and like artist searching and shit like that as well?
Yeah. All the bands that we've signed have either come to us or we have seeked them out.
Okay.
We do get like tons of submissions all the time, and pretty bad about checking all of them. Especially if it's just like the most poorly written email. Like sometimes I'll just click on one randomly and listen to it, and it's like the worst thing ever. And I don't know, bands just need to like just think about somebody from a label actually listening to that and reading this email, and there needs to be some level of professionalism in it.
Yeah.
Both in the music and how you portray it and everything.
100% agreed. Guys, if you're sending emails to labels, or that's going to go to labels, that's going to go to, if you're looking to get an endorsement or some shit like that, like spell check it. At the very least, spell check it.
Yeah. That's a good start.
Yeah, it is tough though. I will say that, being so focused on the music and then also, having to figure out business acumen, which is like communicating effectively in an email and again, like you said, the professionalism aspect that some people might not really think is super important, but it 100% is super important, because a label's not just fucking with you because of your music. It's also because of how you present yourself as a business. And are you going to be a pain in the ass to work with? Are you going to be easy to work with? And I'm sure, and that kind of leads to my next question. So obviously, for the most part, every label looks for, there's a few boxes I'm sure that have to be checked, but is there anything you guys specifically look for in a signing? Any few things that folks should know that would like to join the label?
No, there's no formula at all. It's kind of if it hits us in the right spot.
Okay. I
Uh,
like that answer. I like that
I
answer.
can really like uh, extrapolate on that a whole lot. Um,
It's got to get you warm and fuzzy.
yeah, like every band that we've signed has all been kind of, it's all happened in a different way. There's probably been like, I don't know, maybe like one or two that we actually asked them if they would be up for it. I think
Yeah.
a lot of it's been like, oh, you got to check out my buddy's band, and we'll be like, oh wow, this is really sick. Like, for example, Mordant Rapture was one of those. The drummer of Aether, Josh, he like showed us. We were out on tour with Alter Beast and Aether and Grindmother, and he was like, "You got to check this band out. It's like the sickest thing ever." And instantly, we were like, "Oh, dude, we got to hit these guys up. This is amazing." So there's that, and then there's like, with you guys, it was you guys were seeking out a label, and your manager Greg from EMG like hit us up and just like showed us. I think it was the new single before it was released, and then just like told us about touring plans and stuff. And we're like, oh yeah, that'd be great. So
And then it
Archaic
was
was kind of the
a
same
match
way.
made in death metal heaven.
Yeah,
Cool. Well, yeah, if you are looking to be a part of the Artisan Era, just make sure you're hitting Mike in his warm and fuzzy spot, and you may have a chance.
yeah. Just make the song sick first and get some like sick artwork, going. And then just kind of be at it for a little bit, develop an online presence and everything, and then we'll talk.
Yeah, we've mentioned it before. It's really, and this kind of I say it bleeds into your professional life outside of music. Definitely now, I think even more so than ever before in the touring game. But it's labels want to see you doing it before you're signed. They want to see, and that again, like I said, goes into any profession. If you're looking to get the promotion or whatever it is, your job is going to want to see you doing it before you get it. And it's really doing that, and then surrounding yourself with people who do what you want to do. Doing, if you want to be in a signed touring band, then have people who are doing it around you, or just look to people who are doing things the right way. So that was helpful for me. I reached out to some folks who were very friendly and awesome for giving someone who was green in the industry like I was 9 years ago now or something, giving me some really solid advice. So Carrie Gear from Son of Aurelius gave me some awesome advice, which I'll impart to you guys, which is polite persistence. So you can be persistent in asking for things, or trying to achieve your goals, but just make sure you're polite and patient and being
Yeah,
humble
that
about it.
that
So,
definitely helps, man.
oh yeah, you got to be nuanced with that shit. So we got a couple of sick drummer homies watching. So we've got Greg Vance, who's
Oh
in Full
yeah,
Darkness, and then Bryce
Bryce.
Butler, who is just the sweetest human being.
Yeah, great dudes.
Thanks for hanging, gentlemen. So awesome. So you guys, sorry, you just mentioned it. You guys toured with Grindmother. What was that like, dude? I heard about that. I think when you guys were out on that tour, I saw the name on the AdMat or whatever. I looked into it and I was like, all right, who the fuck is Grindmother? What's happening here?
Man, that was like a very strange band to be touring with. Um, so I had actually seen them maybe like a year before that. Me and Greg from Infold used to own this rehearsal studio in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, which is like near Nashville. And so we had like 5 rooms that we rented out monthly, and then we had a bigger room that we would have shows in, like usually local shows, but occasionally we had touring bands come through. And Grandmother was one of the bands that we had there, and it was like packed out. I think just because the novelty of it. But at the time, it was like a full band, so it was like a 4-piece, and it was just like the strangest thing I'd ever seen in my life. Um, so then, like a year later, so we got Inferi got offered the Alter Beast tour, and Grandmother was going to be on it. I was like, what the hell? So, uh, we go to the first show, and it's like her and it's her son, it's not her grandson. He was playing guitar, and then he had like backing tracks, and they had a teleprompter with the lyrics on it
Oh
that she'd be
man.
reading off of at every show. And she also had like all of her in between song stage banner like on the teleprompter.
Oh,
So
amazing.
after like a week or two, all the guitarists would be backstage, warming up, and we'd be like saying word for word like what her jokes were, like
Oh man.
hope you guys like cookies and shit like that.
Was it
But
where
like
the song? I only think I saw a video where the song's like about grandmother shit.
uh no, I think they were like kind of social commentary sort of thing.
Huh.
um yeah, I don't know, about like Canadian government uh in a few songs maybe. But
Okay.
yeah, interesting. uh they're super nice, and I don't have anything like poor to say about them, but it was just like a different experience, like to be on the road with somebody who's like 70. So
Yeah. Did she party?
no, she didn't party.
Okay. I was
um
just curious of that too. Like, was she out? Was she in the green room like smoking with the bands and shit? Like,
no, no, like I think they left before Ultra Beast even finished every night, and I think they got a hotel room every night. And we're just like, how are they even affording that? Because I didn't see a huge line at their merch table, or it was like the opening band on the tour too. So like
well, hey, I mean, it's
we
sick that
traveled in
they
minivan.
were out there and having fun. I commend it. I mean, I thought when I saw it, I was just like, wow, this is probably one of the coolest things I've ever fucking seen, and just watching them go ape shit, and it's pretty rad.
Yeah.
Do you have? I mean, aside from that, I think that's a pretty standout. But do you have any standout tour moments, like favorite tours or things that were like, damn, this was one of those tours that were so rough that we learned a lot, that if I it was tough, but I would do it again if I had to,
Um, we haven't had any bomb tours, like bomb, like not the bomb, but like not bomb.
Tours
Um,
that bombed. Gotcha.
um, Man, the tour with Obscura, like the Diluvium tour, was like
Oh,
so sick, man. It was Obscura, Beyond Creation, Archspire, Inferi, and then Exist.
that's insane.
And that was my second tour ever.
Oh man.
So it was actually um, there was the Ultra Beast tour, and then we had a fill in for me, or we had backing tracks for me on the next tour, and then the Obscura tour. And dude, that was just insane. Like I remember going to the first show of the tour. It was in Oakland, and I looked out, like peeked out by the curtain, and there's like 500, 600 people there,
Oh.
and I was just like, oh god. We went up there and we had a great time. Um, Everybody on that tour was like super cool. Uh, we made good friends with Archspire, and they had us out for Tech Trek, which was probably like, I don't know, it's probably tied with that tour for like just being super sick. Um, and then do the Shadow of Intent tour this year. It was like 2.5 weeks back in January. That was like the biggest shows we've ever played. Montreal was like 620 people or something,
So
sold out.
insane, dude. It's so
Yeah, man.
insane how, unsigned by choice, obviously, but like
Yeah.
unsigned, how those guys just fucking exploded, man.
Yeah, but I mean, for good reason. Like the music's great.
Yep,
I don't know. They've got it all together. They've got it all figured out.
they do. It was timing, I think, and then obviously they've got excellent fucking music. The art's on point. They've those guys have been grinding. I've been talking with Ben and Chris for a long time. For I think since we put out our first record, they like were reaching out to us and kind of we were just talking with them and stuff like that. And I moved up to Massachusetts, which is a little bit closer to those guys. They live out in, I don't know about Chris, but I know Ben lives out in Connecticut,
Yeah.
and I've gotten to hang out with them a couple of times, and great guys, and really stoked for them to see them just like fucking crushing it like that, man.
Yeah, I think that was like their fourth tour ever, and
Yep.
we sold out like 6 shows or something. Um,
So killer.
yeah, that that last date was in Hartford, and it was like, oh, wait, was that the biggest show? I can't remember which one, but yeah, there were both like 600 people.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. That's hometown for them, and I think that was the only show in New England, so they probably had a lot of people come out for that.
Oh yeah, it was nuts. Um, yeah, I put a video up on my Facebook of the Wall of Death during that, and it's like I haven't seen one like that in years.
Sick. That's
Yeah,
fucking awesome. So props to those dudes for fucking killing it, for taking some sick bands out, taking you guys out and doing the damn thing. Are there any bands on your playlist right now? Like what are you jamming? Anything new that you're jamming, or are there some older bands you've been jamming recently?
um, man, the only things I've been jamming recently are like NPR and like
NPR. Okay. I
uh,
can dig it.
all the new Inferi like pre-pro, and then I guess maybe like just the usual stuff I listen to like Dissection and Insomnium and stuff. Been pretty bad about checking out anything new. Put like having to listen to all the label stuff too. You know, need to listen to it over and over and like check for certain things, especially if I'm doing production on it.
Yeah.
Just kind of like get burnt out on listening to new stuff sometimes, and just want to listen to like what I know is already good.
Yeah.
Like check.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. There's some stuff that you gotta turn your brain off for a little bit to listen to, because a lot of the time you're listening for all the little nuances and all this shit, and you're just like,
Yeah.
let me just put on some stuff that I can just disconnect to a little bit, and I feel that, and it's especially difficult when you're in the writing process too, because you're
Oh
listening
yeah,
to your
for sure.
material over and over again, and you're listening to riffs over and over again, and you're like, shit, does that sound like something?
Oh yeah, man. I hear it all the time. Sometimes I'll spend like hours on a section and then realize, you know, after all that time I put in, it's like the exact copy of some riff that I already was really familiar with. I
Yeah.
just like didn't realize it. Yeah.
So you guys are pretty deep into some new Inferi material.
Yeah. I think that we have all the songs picked out for it and
Ooh.
pretty much written. Um, so like for Revenant, Malcolm wrote kind of the majority of it. Um, probably like 80% of the album. And unfortunately, well, fortunately, I guess, I don't know. Uh, he's kind of done the same thing for this one because he writes way, way quicker than I do.
Yeah.
Like I sent something to the band like a week or two ago, and it was like a new 30-second section in the song, and I was like, I spent like probably a total of 12 hours trying to arrange the notes how I want.
Oh man.
Malcolm's just like, Jesus Christ. So it's mostly Malcolm, but it's super sick. I think I'm not gonna say how many songs it is yet
Yeah.
because we still might switch out one or add one or something. But Most of the songs are there. I've been working on my solos like this week.
Nice.
Um, just finished one yesterday. I think it's pretty good. Um, let's see. Spencer like tabs out all of his drum parts in Guitar Pro, which I've never met any drummer that actually does that.
Alex Rudinger does that actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we toured with the Faceless way back when he was drumming for them, and he says that he, at the time anyway, would tab out every drum part, and then every number on the drum set, like every number in Guitar Pro, like whatever 41 is a splash or some shit like that, that would correlate to a symbol on his kit. So every single hit was accounted for, which is like mind blowing.
And like speaking a little bit more on that, so Jack Blackburn recorded drums on Revenant, and then but he was on his way out because he'd already moved to Houston and wasn't able to tour.
Yeah.
So we had already been like getting Spencer kind of up to speed on everything. So Spencer actually went through and tabbed out all of the drums out in Revenant, and like if you've heard it, it's just absolutely insane task to put yourself up to. But he did the entire album. I don't even think we like did anything with it. He just, I don't know
like,
why we did it. Super cool he did that. And then I think whenever we went through Houston and played, and Jack was there and watched, he's like, dude, that is insane that like how close what he's playing is what I played on the record. And then whenever we do drum playthroughs for a song in Revenant, we'll like, Malcolm will do the rough video cut and just put the album version on there until I get the audio stuff done.
Yeah.
And it's just funny seeing like every single splash, every tom fill is like
perfect.
Yeah, like 99.9% perfect.
That is awesome. Yeah, having drummers like that are so dedicated and focused on the details is it's super fortunate for bands to have somebody so honed in like that. It's great.
Yeah. So all of our pre-production stuff now has got, you know, pretty much everything that Spencer's going to play on the album. I'm not sure if he's like caught up on everything yet, but yeah, it's nuts, man.
Nice. And how do you guys typically do? Do you write a bunch of songs and then kind of cut from there? Or is it like you write a bunch of songs, then you've got some riffs, and then you see if you can make them better? Like what's the typical, what's that like?
It's usually like a couple of riffs strung together that we like a lot. And then we'll kind of be like, you know, this sounds like maybe the ending of a song, or the, you know, a verse and maybe a chorus or whatever. It just kind of depends on the song. I usually tend to write riffs that seem to be like in the middle of the song. There's a couple of parts on like the new stuff where Malcolm's written the majority of the song, but he's brought in this 30-second or a minute thing that I wrote that's like I couldn't figure out what else to do with.
Yeah.
And I'll just put it right in the middle of the song, and that'll be like the weird turnaround shit in the middle. Something. It kind of varies though. The first song on the new album, I did write like the whole thing. So there's that.
Fuck yeah, dude. Well, very much looking forward to hearing it. And yeah, I can echo that sentiment when it's like you write a section or a riff and you're not sure what to do with it. And then now we've been giving it to our drummer, like I said before, our drummer Tony, who's going to be doing the engineering on the album. And I'll be like, hey, dude, like, here's a sick idea. Fucking tonify this thing. And he'll come back in a few days and he'll be like, oh, I just did this thing. And he's got a whole fucking song around these one or two sections that we sent him. And then we do some tweaking from there. but he's played a huge part in the writing process on this one, which is new, pretty new for us, I'd say. A lot of it, you know, the stuff before was really Matt and me kind of just riffifying all the songs and going in. And so the first album was written in a warehouse as a full band. We didn't know how to do any kind of engineering, production, anything. So it was like 8-9 hours in a warehouse for however long it took us, for whatever 1 or 2 years working on that first record. And I mentioned it on the podcast before as well, but being able to listen to your material back as a listener is huge in really like leveling up your compositions.
You wrote it in a warehouse?
We wrote it in a warehouse. Yeah, our practice space basically. So call that our warehouse, which was just like a warehouse space that we rented and didn't tell people we were using their power to run amps and shit.
Yeah.
It's like a storage space.
Oh yeah. Familiar with that.
Nick Padovani is in the chat from our boys in Equipoise.
Oh, what's up, Nick? Go to bed, dude.
Yeah, he said, hell, too late. Haha, bedtime for me soon. Bedtime? Yeah. It's 8 o'clock, buddy. What are you doing? Yeah, I just learned how to say that name. It's another one that I was very disappointed in myself because I was like, oh,
Equipoise.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Equipose, and they were like, nope. It's like that's fair. That's very. I appreciate the correction. But I saw them with Beyond Creation and Fallujah, and it was so sick.
I bet, man. I wanted to check that tour out, but we were out with Black Crown, I think, in Canada.
Nice.
I think that was the same time. Maybe it was the next one. I don't remember.
That was their first tour back in a while too,
huh? Yeah.
That's awesome. I love Canada, man.
Canada's great, except for like that giant stretch of like 12 or 15 hours or whatever,
where there's like absolutely nothing.
Like nothing, like a little west of the Great Lakes.
Yep. It's gorgeous though. I mean, driving through it is always a treat, but yeah, it's one of those things that we got warned about it very early, that it's like if you have half a tank of gas, fill up.
Oh yeah.
Don't get lower than half a tank of gas, because there have been many bands that just we'll make it, and not a gas station for hundreds of miles.
Yeah, and look out for moose too.
Yeah. Oh man, we've been super fortunate in that regard, where we've had our share of van trouble, but we've never hit anything.
Yeah, same here. We were like driving in Vermont one time, I think. And I was on the interstate, and there was a sign for moose crossing, and I was like, okay, whatever. And then like 2 moose ran across the interstate, like maybe like 50 yards ahead of me.
Oh,
man.
Man.
I'm driving this van and trailer going like 70, maybe 75 miles an hour, and just like, oh good, but they ran. So
it was a close call.
Yeah, well, it could have been closer, but yeah, it was pretty too close for me, for my liking, I guess.
Yeah, dude, and those things, you don't like. It's hard to comprehend how fucking gigantic they are, even relative to like a van and trailer, you know.
Yeah, so like initially, I thought it was 2 deer. I think it was like 2 like female moose or something.
Yeah,
or smaller. I don't know, but. You know, within like 2 seconds, I saw that they were way bigger than deer, but it wasn't like the giant, like, you know,
yeah,
the moose you think when you think of moose.
Yep.
So I saw that they were way bigger.
So what's it like in the Inferi van on your travels? What are you guys usually jamming? What's that environment like?
Man, usually jamming like some new releases, some classic stuff, Andrew listens to like some hip hop sometimes. Stevie listens to Muse
Okay.
a lot. That's like his favorite band. Sometimes podcasts, sometimes like stand-up comedy. It's kind of just a mixed bag depending on who's driving and whatnot.
Nice. Yeah, you gotta mix it up. What I would not recommend that we do, because Killian, for whatever reason, is obsessed with very obscure history podcasts. Would would not recommend.
Yeah,
It
unless
will.
that's your thing. I mean, that could be interesting.
Yes, but not if you're supposed to be co-piloting and staying awake.
Yeah,
Becomes quite the challenge.
yeah. It's not a good night listen.
No. All right, Mike, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. I hope that you stay safe through all of this crazy coronavirus shit, since I know that you're at work. Luckily, you're not seeing customers, but you're still, I'm sure coming in some kind of contact with either people at your job or making deliveries. So really, really appreciate you doing this. Like I said, stay safe. And any parting words for the folks listening, watching, where they can check out the label and where they can check your stuff out with Inferi?
Um, yeah, just support the Artisan Era and Inferi. Got a lot of stuff kind of planned out. I'm not sure exactly when it's going to drop. Five great releases this year. The two Sutra releases: Erroneous, Symbolic, Myth of I. A lot of other stuff in the works. We've got tons of vinyl. Just, you know where to get it. theartisanerastore.com.
There you go. Theartisanerastore.com. Again, buy all the stuff you possibly can. Use all of your entire stimulus check on merch. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten mine. So
I haven't got mine either. It's, yeah, frustrating times. Well, Mike, thanks again. Hope you have a great night, and we will catch up soon, bud.
All right, man. Take care.
Thanks. All right, everybody. Thank you for hanging out during an awesome interview with Mike. Give me just a few minutes. We're going to take a quick little break here, and then we will be back on with Matt McGachy of Cryptopsy and Vox&Hops. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Seriously, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for sticking around and bearing with us on that very brief break. We now have the awesome and ever talented Matt McGachy of Cryptopsy and Vox&Hops joining the stream. Matt, how the hell are you, dude?
I'm doing really well. I'm doing very well. I'm staying home. Luckily, I have a job that allows me to work from home, so I'm doing that. Amongst that, Cryptopsy is busy writing a new record, and I have been doing lots and lots of interviews for Vox&Hops via the internet, which is something that I would have never done before because it was always about two people meeting in a craft beer bar and hanging out and drinking that way. So it was never an option, but now it has become an option. So I'll probably keep doing it too in the future.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't, if it's okay to say, you and I did one, and I had a great time. So thank you so much for having me. And I hadn't thought about that because I did hear some episodes previously that it was in person, and I was like, I wonder if he usually does these in person, or if doing them through online means is a normal thing as well. So is it, obviously there's that whole thing of not being there with someone and being able to fucking knock glasses with them, but has there been any other challenges that maybe you didn't foresee with doing it online?
There's always technology keeping up. There's
Oh yeah.
the first one that I did just was a complete disaster with Dustin Davidson of August Burns Red. It was just a complete technical nightmare. I lost about half of the interview, but I still went forward with it. That would be the main issue. Aside from that, connecting with someone is a bit more difficult if you can't actually see them.
Yeah.
Or be with them. But I've still been making some actual genuine connections, and it's somewhat easier because I'll schedule an interview. It's at a certain time. I show up, I sit down, I'm playing with my kids like 10 minutes before. I sit down at the table, I do the interview, and then when the interview's over, I'm back playing with them, versus I would have to go downtown, go to the craft beer bar, hang out with the people, and then obviously when we finish our interview, we're going to have another pint. That's normally what happens. So I tend to drink more in real life interviews versus the these online ones, and I end up spending more money too. So, but I'm looking forward to getting back into craft beer bars and hanging out with people. That being said, I'm going to drink a craft beer.
Well, please enjoy that. Yeah, I didn't. Yes. I should have gone. I should have ran to the fridge and grabbed one before we started. How terrible of me.
I can talk long enough about this one.
There you go. Yeah, please. What do you got there?
Okay, so this is a very good beer that I really like from a craft brewery up here in Montreal. It's actually from Rideau, which is just outside Montreal. This is Le Castal Brewing Company's New England IPA. It is something that they started doing about last year, I think. It is actually Le Castal Brewing Company that really got me into craft beer, because they had this Yakima IPA, which is more of a West Coast style IPA with Yakima hops in it.
Okay.
From the Yakima Valley. And that is really the craft beer that just changed everything for me, made the obsession become real.
Nice. Okay. Well, didn't give you the most proper introduction. So if you guys don't know, again, Matt is the vocalist of Cryptopsy. He also is the host of the Vox&Hops podcast that has over 150 now, which is so impressive. Over 150 interviews with some of your favorite folks in metal bands and more, I'm sure, and their love of craft beer. So, or sometimes maybe not their love of craft beer. But
that's right. But I'm releasing 133 tomorrow. I've done over 150 interviews, but to be really upfront, there's only 132 out right now.
Incredible. Still really impressive, and you've got some backlog there, which I am jealous of.
And the hustle is real. It's a hunger.
I see that. Yeah, it is.
I have to slow down, honestly, because it's a little bit much right now.
Yeah. Is this, how many interviews or podcasts have you done on the other side now?
Like on the computer?
Or as a guest as opposed to a host?
Oh, way less. I think 5 or 6.
Okay.
But it's nice. It's refreshing to be on the opposite side and answer the questions.
Yeah. We've got someone in the comments, Hell Yisabeth, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, says, yes. So cool to finally hear Matt as a guest, and a smile face. So
yes, I have good news for her. The hoodies are in.
Oh, the hoodies are in, Hell.
I got them yesterday, Elizabeth. It's well, I'll figure out how to get them to you. I've been waiting forever. Huge shout out to the imprint here in Montreal. Due to COVID-19, they had to cut their staff down to just basically one person.
Oh, wow.
And I've been waiting for my Vox&Hops hoodies that people have pre-ordered months ago. And I put the order in months ago, but a huge shout out to the imprint for making some sick-ass hoodies under these circumstances.
Nice. I definitely need to pick one up. So I will definitely be grabbing one. Even though we're getting into summer here in New England, I'm gonna grab one and be ready to go for next year. I'm not, as much as I am looking forward to the end of winter and snow and things, I'm not looking forward to the Boston or New Massachusetts heat. So
It was snowing here today, so
Yeah, we had snow. We had snow a couple days ago, and then yeah, I could talk so much about the weather in New England just coming up from Miami, Florida, where it's obviously extremely different and equally as chaotic, though, where, again, one day we've got snow and then the next day it's 60 degrees and I don't know what the fuck is happening. But cool. So what got you started with Vox&Hops? We'll get into that. So what prompted it, and did it originally start where you were maybe looking to specifically interview vocalists and then it kind of expanded, or how did that start out for you?
initially, Vox&Hops really started because I stayed home for a year with my daughter. I was on a sabbatical from my day job, which is working in early childhood education. So instead of sending my child into daycare, when my wife went back to work, I took a year off because I had the reached the amount of years working there where I'm allowed to take one. So I took it.
That's amazing.
And speaking of winters, the winter days are very short. Like sunshine, like the brightness of a winter day up here in Montreal is very short. So by like 4 o'clock, it's dark outside. You can't really go outside anymore. The days felt very long. So I started listening to podcasts because we don't watch TV with our children.
Yeah.
So the podcasts just help me pass the time while I can still be engaged and playing with my child. And I started listening to the Jazz the Show, the X-Men with Doc Coyle,
Yeah.
um, Off Camera Sam Jones were really like the big three that I really know. Mark Maron's as well was another one.
Yep.
And I just sort of dove into it like obsessive as I am with anything. And I really liked the format, the platform. I thought it was very interesting, and I thought that I could do something like that. So I went out for my wife's birthday, which was in April, and we came up with the name that night. And initially, yes, it was supposed to be just me chatting with vocalists, but I didn't want to like limit myself, and I didn't want to limit myself to people that necessarily like craft beer.
Yeah.
So I sort of just blew everything up and started interviewing as many people as I could, starting with close friends. I did some research on the net saying that it's best to launch with at least 10 episodes in your belt. So maybe that's where I got my hunger for content. And that's what I did. I started doing interviews August of that year, and then I launched at the end of October.
So how long ago was that now?
That was in 2018. So
Wow. Okay. Awesome. You're almost coming up on your second year anniversary. So congratulations, man. That's huge.
yes. Last year's for 1 year anniversary was amazing. I did a live interview with Lord Worm in front of a
Sick.
live audience. My friends from Le Fermenteur brewed me a New England IPA that we drank. It was a great night at Turbo House here in Montreal. I have plans for next year, but hopefully everything settles down and we can all have fun again.
That is awesome. Yeah, I need to get out to that for next year. If things go as planned with, or back to normal rather, I would love to check that out. So keep me in the loop on that. Great. So do you have, you've got 130 plus out, you've done 150. Do you have any that were like, wow, I just finished interviewing this person? Like, holy shit.
One just yeah, last Monday. I can't talk about it yet because it's going to
Yeah.
come out next Monday. But it's a big one. I was friends with him back in the day, and it just sort of panned out. But it's a big band, so I'm stoked about that one. And he was a sweetheart, as I know that he is. Lord Worm was another milestone, and when I started and I did my initial 10, I basically wanted him to be the first that I would release,
Yeah.
with hopes that it would get some buzz. Was my thought process to try to get some connection into to the media,
Yeah.
so people could pay attention to the podcast right off the bat. But it didn't work out due to circumstances that were out of our control. So I'm sort of happy that it actually happened later, when when I released Lord Worm. I think he's episode 80 or 82, I can't remember, and I had all this backlog where people could go back and listen to a bunch of other ones. I'm always like a little bit nervous before doing it. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's always fun to connect with people. I'm actually more nervous now when I'm doing return guests, because I'm so used to ask. I have like a framework of questions that I can pick from.
Yeah.
I never write my questions out. It's always a conversation.
Yeah.
And when I have a returning guest, I'm always nervous that I'm going to ask them something that I already asked them, or so I always like re-listen to the episode actually,
Yeah,
so
that's
that
what I was
I
going to
can.
ask, if you re-listen and kind of, is that something that you write down, like, don't ask about this?
I try to get all that going in my mind beforehand.
Nice.
But generally, everyone's been honestly everyone out of the 100 and plus 50 people that I've spoken with, everyone's been cool.
That's great. And I think, for I can speak for myself, and I know when you and I spoke a little bit, that's really the goal that I think we're both trying to accomplish, is to show you guys how cool and really down to earth 99% of these folks are, and really get give you an opportunity to kind of see, take a peek in their lives a little bit.
Yeah, and I want to shine a light on all my talented friends' artistry and their bands. And I interviewed some brewers as well. I did the Vox&Hops Metal Brewer Talks.
Nice.
They were like metalheads that were brewers. I really enjoyed doing that. I want to do more of that. So if there's any metal brewers out there that want to have a chat with me, I'm super down. And I think there's a lot of stuff out there that people need to hear and see and get exposed. And there's a lot of bands that I've discovered by doing this, either from recommendations from Vox&Hops heads such as Jerry Monk. I hope you're listening, brother. It's been an excellent like community building system, which is what the podcast didn't really start out as that, but that's what it's becoming, as a way to build a community of people that can uplift a scene and uplift all of my artist friends, and at the same time myself and Cryptopsy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I appreciate you bringing me into that circle. Being very new at this in comparison, it was awesome to see such a warm welcome from someone who I considered is been doing it right for so long. So thank you,
No,
man.
thank you. No, thank you. It was easy.
Yeah, so we've got a question in the comments. George says, thoughts on Nightmare Brewing. Are you familiar with Nightmare Brewing?
I am not. I am not. Where are they based at? Hold on. Let me do some recon over here.
Yeah, do some
It
recon.
sounds metal.
It does.
Nightmare Mare Brewing. See, there needs to be more. Here we go. Nightmare Brewing Company. They seem to be young. 55 likes, unless it's like a weird generated. It looks metal as fuck. So if anyone knows a contact them, I'd love to chat with them.
He says, think you'd really dig it. So definitely something
They're on
to
my
look
radar.
into. Yeah, yeah.
I've liked them, and I'm liking them as Vox&Hops too.
There you go. Look at us getting pages likes and just being productive over here.
It's hard to turn off. That's the issue.
Yeah, it is. I've been learning that slowly. So you talked a little bit about it, but you said, so for your day job, you do early childhood education?
That's right. I've been working with as an early childhood educator since 2000. Probably I graduated the same year I joined Cryptopsy. So since then,
wow,
I've been working as a trained early childhood educator. Before that, I always worked in summer camps. It was just something that I always did. It was my first job, and I sort of stuck with it. I tried to do other things, and I didn't enjoy it. I wouldn't wake up and want to go to work. Kids are just always fun and fresh, and it's the same feeling, like you step out on a stage and people like are happy you're there. I walk into the daycare and the kids are all happy to see me. It's instead of having like a crowd of people in front of me and I'm commanding a circle pit, I'm doing the opposite. I'm trying to keep them zen and try to teach them some stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty polar opposites almost of two sides of the spectrum, where being a death metal frontman and doing early child education. So I didn't know that. That's awesome. That's extremely commendable. So that's great. You don't really. That's the first time I've heard like, my side gig is I teach kids.
There's a few of us. There's a few of us. The singer of Barf used to do it, another band from here in Montreal. And recently I sat down with Andreas from Cabal.
Yeah.
And the guitarist of Cabal, I'm sorry, I can't remember your name. he also works in early childhood education. Apparently, in Denmark, where they're from, there's a lot of artists that are in ECE. So that's it's like a more popular approach. It's not still not popular here to have men working in early childhood education because it doesn't pay well, and it's not something that a lot of men turn towards. But it's very
Yeah.
important for us to be there.
Yeah.
A
And
lot of kids don't have fathers and need positive role models, and it's important to see men as being as brutal and as, you know, metal as I am on stage, to see someone that can be kind and sweet and gentle. It's an important thing to come from a man.
I 100% agree, and it's rewarding, I'm sure, and it's, you know, you're doing good work. So, how does that permeate into like your family? So you've got kids at home as well, where I haven't heard any vocals yet, but I'm waiting to hear some warm ups.
No, my wife is still struggling at this moment.
Oh
So
no.
shout out to Jessica, my wife, and the producer of Vox&Hops. The Vox&Hops wouldn't get very far without her. Either A, entertaining the children while I'm doing the interviews right now, or B, roping in all of my ideas into what makes sense.
Awesome. Shout out to Jessica.
Yes, she rocks. But yeah, you know, there's been some parents that have discovered Cryptopsy.
Oh, how does that go? I was gonna ask if
It
you
was
had any parents who knew you already from Cryptopsy, or if they didn't and then they found out and how they reacted.
I've been hoping to have like a parent come in and be like, "Oh my God," but it hasn't happened yet. I've been waiting for that to happen, but it hasn't
Yeah,
happened yet. There's been a few parents that have been through it, but it's more because of the Vox&Hops beer things.
yeah.
We've crossed each other at beer fests, and that's a bit more of a thing. But there was a group once. This is probably 5 6 years ago, when a mother was very insecure, and she just Googled me, I guess, and saw that I was in Cryptopsy and shared all of this to all of the parents in the group.
Oh man.
Luckily, they loved me. It was like I rarely tell them at the beginning of the group that year that this is what I do,
Yeah.
but luckily they loved me, and it was okay. It was okay.
Good, good. That makes me feel good. That makes me feel like we're moving in the right direction of being seen as the societal outcasts and look down upon, like folks in the metal scene have been for quite some time.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, and as I said, you know, 150 people, we're the nicest people.
Yeah.
We tend to be. There's you know the rare egg out there that's a prick, but most of the time we're nice people.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's the memes of like the vocalist on stage being a big scary front man and then him like petting a kitten in
Yeah,
the next in the next frame.
that's me. Except it's me asking, what style of craft beer do you have? And then I become the monster again when they say they don't have
Yeah. So I've always been curious. I haven't really been able to talk too in depth with too many fathers who also tour fairly, you know, regularly or full time. So, what's that been like for you since becoming a father, and how has that like changed how you view it, or what's that been like?
It's hard. It's hard leaving
Yeah.
the kids behind. Luckily, I haven't left since last July,
Okay.
but and the kids were a bit younger. I'm imagining now that they're older, they'll start understanding more and asking more questions. Once again, it goes back to Jessica just being such a rock and so strong here at home to keep the family unit together when I'm gone. We communicate via FaceTime, but it's not the same. And
Yeah.
as we don't do screen time very often,
Yep.
when we do introduce like a telephone, it always ends up becoming this horrible fight.
Yeah.
So it's never fun. But it's hard. You know, I missed my daughter's first birthday, stuff like that, you know, the usual touring stuff. But has it
Yep.
changed anything? No, I'm still hungry. I want to go out there, but I want to do the right tours, not the most tours
Yeah.
now. I think Cryptopsy needs to choose the right tours and get out there and be on the right packages and not just tour into the ground anymore. So it's very important for, I think, all artists out there, especially with what's happening, there's going to be a lot of bands that are going to have to team up and hypothetically cut their pays a bit, but make up for it in merch sales is what we should go the punk rock route is what's going to happen after COVID.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking the same, and talking with Dan DeFonts from Continental Touring, he mentioned similar sentiments where it's really going to be a gamble in the beginning. Yeah, there's going to be people who are hungry to go to a show and get out there and are just dying to be back in their element, but there are going to be people who are hesitant, and we're going to have to really, as bands, have that in mind, be really sensitive to the fact that the promoters putting on these shows, they haven't had a stream of income for a long time if that's what they do. So they may be putting on these first few shows and not have those guarantees in the bank that they usually do. So reductions may be a thing. And I think, the way that you're saying it is what makes the most sense. It's, being understanding, teaming up with the right bands, having everybody have the right expectations, I think is what's going to be really important.
Also, we have to keep in mind that they're going to be doing small club shows before big shows.
Yep.
And those small club shows are going to be at reduced capacity because social distancing is not going anywhere for a while.
Right.
So it's going to be crazy. I've been imagining these shows just in my mind of they're going to put tape on the ground.
Yeah.
In where you can stand, and that's your spot. But what's going to happen when the drummer counts in?
Yeah, exactly.
And do I want to play on the show like that? I'd rather wait, honestly.
Yeah,
I'd rather wait till we can actually do what we do properly. I don't want to tell people to stop moshing because if they do, hypothetically, the cops will be there and everyone will get fined and the promoter will get fined, and on top of not having money to pay the guarantee, they'll have to pay their fines. And I'm just speculating. It's a horrible thing, but it's not what I want to happen. I don't want to play that show, that's for sure.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree, and it's going to be a slow start. I'm going to preemptively give a huge shout out to the bands that are going to kind of get the ball rolling, so to speak, when that starts, because that's another thing too. Everyone's going to be hesitant to either go to a show or to play a show, and it's going to be because obviously risk of infection if things aren't completely under control, but also for risk of not going out on a successful run. And there's so many factors that play into it, right? Where it's like, is the run going to be successful monetarily for the band? Also, most of the time, unfortunately, it's like your band is only as big as the last tour that you did and the numbers that you did in that last tour. So do you feel like the music industry is going to come from a place of understanding? And I say like the industry, like I've said it before in quotations, whatever the group of elders are that they decide what, the metrics that constitute a band of whatever size. Do you think that those expectations are going to be kind of tapered?
I hope so. They have to.
Yeah.
We're all suffering. Everyone's suffering. And I think maybe the solution to anything would be we're going to start playing hometown shows.
Yeah.
When we're allowed to play shows again, instead of going out on a tour, we're going to play hometown shows.
That's a good idea.
We're going to go back to being local bands. Which is crazy.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting concept.
That's the easiest way to test the market and see if it actually is feasible before going out. I know I'm not printing any tour shirts I would never print another tour shirt for years, I don't think.
Yeah.
It's just throwing your money in this bag that hypothetically it's like putting this money in like a luggage and getting on a plane. But not putting your tag on it.
Oh yeah.
You might get it, you might not. We don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting time for sure. But I do sincerely hope that we get a solid bounce back. I think that now more than ever, once things are again completely under control and we've we've really moved into a place where everybody's comfortable again, then we're going to see folks more passionate and more ready to come to shows and buy merch and support artists than ever, because they're going to see that in the blink of an eye, their favorite thing, their release, could be taken away.
Yeah, and that experience. And by the time it's all happening again, it's going to be, if DeFonce is right, 2021.
Right.
People are going to be hungry. They're going to want to go see shows. You know, people want
Yeah.
to support bands, but you can only buy so many shirts. So I think bands need to be more creative now.
Yeah.
Find a way to connect with their fans. Find a way to give their fans something that they can't get, you know, aside from a piece of plastic or a digital download or a piece of fabric. That's what we need to do right now as bands. We need to be creative. I don't know the answer to this question. You know, there's the live streams that are happening, but our technology, for it to sound good, for it to be an experience that someone wants to pay for,
Yeah.
it's not there. It's not like a dude and an acoustic guitar. You can pull that off.
Yep.
But we with extreme metal, it's extremely difficult. So we're gonna have to figure something else out. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just private hangouts where you can actually hang out with your fans, because there's fans out there that are still working, that
Yeah.
do still have some income, that want to support the bands, but are just, how many shirts can you buy?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You know, you can only buy so many, and even particularly now where folks are struggling financially. So let's brainstorm on some shit, and we can try and do something cool for
challenging
for fans. Yeah, everybody, if you're in the chat and you've got some cool ideas that you'd like to see from bands, from us, let us know. George says, play a live stream and print quarantine 2020 tour shirts.
Yeah, I've thought about it. I have, you know, I have Christian Donaldson, who's the engineer that does all of the Cryptopsy stuff, Beyond Creation, The Agonist,
Yeah.
Beneath the Massacre. I have him. We have his studio. I have the film crew. It's just the whole live stream part of it that I don't understand. I've spoken to a few people, and this is not just for Cryptopsy. I want to do this for Montreal bands. I want to create an experience for their fans where, but you know, is it financially viable? I don't know. It's still in this like early brainstorm. But yes, and then you can ship out the shirt. I've had all these ideas. You ship out the shirt so that the fans can wear them during the concert.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Which would be stupid, but it's funny.
But hey, I mean, someone can say like, I've got my quarantine shirt on, so
yeah, that's like a limited thing, you know, it's something special.
Comment some pictures of them or something. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the longer this plays out, the more creative we are going to see people getting, and I look forward to seeing how that unfolds too, and seeing what it's kind of that point where I don't want to compare it too much, but you know, when countries get in a bind in wartime and they have to innovate, that's where like plastic came from, and all kinds of things like that. I feel like maybe we'll start doing some things where again we'll start to innovate, and it'll slide into a new normal for us. So I look forward to seeing what that looks like.
Well, there's definitely on the business side of stuff, you know, renting an office for all your employees downtown anywhere.
Yep.
To have all your employees sit there at their desks, it costs lots of money. So now all these employees are doing it in their living room.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm imagining a lot of businesses in the future are going to be slacking that and making people just work from home and come in maybe for meetings. I know that I have work meetings, and normally they're after work, but we're doing them like via Zoom now.
Nice.
And I love that. I like it way better. We're way more comfortable. We're always way too many people in this tiny room. Now I'm sitting in a comfortable chair in the comfort of my home with my kids. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that a lot of these things that we've had to adapt to actually stick. You know, less people out driving, less people, you know, the earth has had a little chance to breathe. We've seen all those pictures of the pollution over China being less, so I'm hoping that some of these things stick. Some of these new habits that we had to make actually stay around.
I agree. I think so. I think they will. I hope they will. Even from being more mindful of each other, of, you know, being fucking washing your hands more often, which I
should be doing it already.
seriously, but I read something when this all started that something like 30% of people don't wash their hands regularly or something, or didn't before. And so hopefully that's like if you're not, if you weren't washing your hands before, hopefully you're washing your hands now. God damn it.
Please do.
Um, but yeah, I just, I'm concerned with how the U.S. is handling it. How do you feel broadly, if you're comfortable discussing it, how Canada's handling it
Um,
currently?
Quebec has been very aggressive.
Yeah.
They were very aggressive at first, so I'm sort of happy with how they handled it. It's I right before you signed off, I heard that you guys haven't got your stimulus checks yet.
Nope.
It takes seriously like 3 days up here.
Wow.
It's like you log online, and then 3 days later, it's in your bank account.
Wow. That's
So
amazing.
that's great. They've been funding my daycare. We're getting our full salaries, even though we're not paying, working our full hours. They are
Wow.
paying the parents' contributions. It's like I don't know where this money's coming from, probably from us, but
Yeah.
I bet I feel like they've handled it well. We'll see how it keeps going once everyone's saying that we're reaching the top of the cusp of the curve. We'll see.
Yeah. So and in Canada they're doing the monthly checks, right? Where it's not because here we just get one, and
We have
then it's good luck.
4 months of $2,000
Wow.
for 4 months every yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it goes to show how differently certain countries are handling it, and there are tons of different arguments, obviously, from both sides, population size, blah blah blah. But I personally think that there's not an excuse for us not to be doing something similar here
Yeah, yeah.
in the
But
U.S.
the US is so fucked with healthcare. Your healthcare is fucked up.
Oh, it's the
Uh,
worst.
Worse than that is your mat leave. Makes no sense. We can
Awful.
take up to 12 months paid, 18 months you get paid for the first 12, and the other 6 is at your own expense, but you don't lose your job. You walk back into work, it's automatically back to your work. You guys get like 6 weeks or something.
If that, that's amazing. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's madness. And then having had 2 young children, I can only imagine how hard it is for
yeah.
people that are going back to full-time work. So there's a lot of things that the US needs some reanalyzing. Their craft beer is really good though.
We got one thing going for us, man. It's a good craft
Well,
beer,
craft
and
beer, metal,
the
cool
weed's good
people.
too.
The
So
weed's good too. Yep.
all
You
the
guys
all
had the dispensaries first. Those were fun.
yeah, all the things that we need to help ease our minds with the insanity of everything else that is in need of some desperate help.
You got some cool cities that are fun to go to. Some
Yeah,
beautiful country national parks, which I wish I had more time to look at when I'm on tour.
yeah.
But you know how it is.
That's how I feel about Canada too. We've done full Canadian tours. I want to say three or four times now, and I always wish I could spend more time. My probably one of easily one of my favorite places in the world is Lake Louise. I'm sure
Yeah,
you're familiar.
yeah, of course, yeah.
Um, we anytime we're in Canada and we're doing that drive, if no matter what we have to do, we make sure we stop there, and it really just take it in that we're doing this, take it in that it's bigger than just getting to the next city and playing a show. It's really taking in that we have the opportunity to see these amazing, gorgeous sights while we get to do what we love to do.
It's very, very easy to get into the mundane. I put on at least once a tour, I'm in like a funk, and I listen to that Nine Inch Nails song every day is exactly the same.
Yeah,
It's easy to get into that funk on tour, but it's important to ground yourself and realize that we're extremely lucky to do what we do, to have traveled the world and have played everywhere, to have tasted beer all over the world, to have met people all over the world, met seen a whole bunch of amazing countries. It's a special thing, all because I scream like an animal. It's and I can do it on time apparently. So
yeah. That's
we're very lucky. But yes, Canada is beautiful. I love each end of it. The prairies
yeah,
can be tedious.
yeah, yeah.
And Ontario is enormous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Mike and I were talking about that stretch of where we learned on our first Canadian tour that they were like, if you get to half a tank of gas, fill up because you don't know when you're going to see the next gas station.
That's right. Yes, I've had that happen to me on an early 3 Mile Scream tour,
Oh no.
where, but it wasn't in Ontario. It was in New Brunswick, coming back from Halifax,
Okay.
and we slept outside a gas station. Yeah,
Oh no.
and then because we did that, we got nailed in this crazy snowstorm,
Oh.
and then like the fishtailing trailer, and the trailer's beside the van as we're driving. Like one of
Oh
those
man, black ice.
awesome,
Yeah, we've been
yeah,
there. Oh,
one
it's
of those
so
awesome
scary,
trips.
dude.
Shout out to Norm and to Kyle and to Alex Dellis and to Aries for crazy trips. Those old tours that we used to do.
So you joined Cryptopsy back in 2007. Obviously the band's been around since late 80s, early 90s. What was joining the band like? Like what was that process like?
I there's this long story that goes to that, is that JF Dagenet from Cataclysm recorded the very first 3 Mile Scream record, a prelude to our demise, and he got Chris Donaldson to pick up some of the editing on it
Nice.
because he was just too busy. So we went to Chris's house, blah blah blah. We liked the experience with Chris. We went and did our second record with Chris, A Glimpse of Hope. Chris, being Chris, always likes to show off his new mixes. So he was showing off to the Cryptopsy boys who were going to play some show somewhere his new 3 Mile Scream mix. Flo was in this area where he wanted to have clean vocals and do something different. He liked my voice. He asked me to join the band. I said no. And then when the leader of 3 Mile Scream, Mike Marino, I thought about it for a bit. I didn't say no right away.
Yeah.
When Mike Marino, shout out to Mike, quit 3 Mile, I hung up the phone and picked up the phone and called Flo back.
Wow.
And then I joined. There was like an audition thing. I joined. I got the call on my birthday, my 24th birthday, I think.
That's awesome.
I was going to be the new singer. And then it was white noise. I didn't see them until my birthday's in July. I didn't see them until February, when we were rehearsing to go tour Mexico, which was my first tour ever.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm used to jamming 3-4 times a week. It was a very strange entry into the band, and then it was a very strange vibe in the band, and then we recorded The Unspoken King, which is a very strange Cryptopsy record, and I just did my best. It was what I was at that time. I understand what Cryptopsy was? I absolutely did not. I was I a fan? No, I had played with them. I had seen them. I had understood that they were an extreme, fast, brutal band.
Yeah.
Did I think I can do it? I guess I did, or I figured I could. I tried my best, but it was definitely an evolution for my part to become something that could keep up with everyone else.
Yeah, I was actually listening to that last record during my workout today, and so fucking sick.
Oh, thank you.
It's
Which one though?
it came out in 2012. I maybe the self-titled.
Yes, that's when John came back.
Yeah.
Excellent story there. John left the band during Once Was Not's writing, and I'm moving on to a different beer.
Oh, what
This
do you
is
got there?
Double de Sainte. This is from Boreal. This is I got it written somewhere. It's like a double IPA. Yeah, a double IPA, 8%. This one's stepping it
Ooh.
up. Boreal is like a really big brewery up here, but they've been doing these like artisanal type beers, and with the Boreal du Nord-Est, and then they've done other ones such as this one. It's good.
Very cool.
And so John wanted to come. Flo wanted John to come back in the band. Called him. John said, "No, I'm not ready," because John, being John, had put his guitar away and hadn't touched it apparently in 7 years.
Oh my gosh.
So he took 5 months, called Flo back, and he says, "I'm ready now." And then he walked into the room, and when John is the type of artist that he has the songs in his head and he has to get them out on the guitar,
Yeah.
which is fun to work with. So he had just the majority of that album is John, like a lot of it, and a little bit of Chris, a little bit of Yuri. because we had Yuri Raymond at that time. Shout out to Yuri. He's awesome from One Human. There's new One Human coming, if anyone knows that.
Sweet.
It should absolutely be on your radio. Crazy, crazy band. So it was great working with John. I was super nervous to go to those jams with him initially, but he's a sweetheart. We got along. It was fun. Great guitar player. Just fun to watch someone so creative, like having wait till you hear song 7. He already had in his mind that's what 2 Pound Torch became.
Wow.
So just fun. Yeah. I like that record. I stand behind that still.
That's killer. Yeah. So Jake says, 2 of the sickest metal musicians out there. Much love, boys. Thank you very much, Jake. Cheers, bud. Neil Werner says, Matt, what are your thoughts on sours?
Oh, I love them, but it depends on what style. I really like a lot of beers, a lot of styles of beers. I like the complex, especially what's going on in the States. These barrel-aged sours where they're blending them. I think that's super, super awesome. I like it's like more of a closer approach to making wines. I like that very much. Much more. I like those style of sours much more than the fruited sours, to be honest. But there's a whole bunch of crazy ones in the States. Shout out to Speciation Artisan Ales, who have been on the podcast. They make crazy cool sours.
Nice.
And they're very, very metal.
Sick. Yeah, I've had a couple, and I'd say I'm a fan. I'm certainly not as much of a connoisseur as you are, but I enjoy a good sour every now and again. Same thing with my IPAs. That seems to be your go-to, huh?
For the time being, but I'm actually going to place an order for beer tomorrow, and I was going to ask them to throw in some sours too.
Oh, nice.
Because I've been drinking a lot of IPAs.
Got to change it up a little bit.
I need some balance. I got a bunch of Henderson Brewing Company made a beer for the Devastation on the Nation.
Oh, sick.
After party. It was called Devastation. It's a black lager. So I got a bunch of those. So I'm covered on the dark beers for right now. So I need a bit of a balance.
Nice. Neil says Urban Artifact in Ohio is great.
Cool. On my radar.
Another
I'll
one.
Definitely check it out. Thank you.
Urban Artifact. Killer. So yeah, like I mentioned before, that self-titled album, so sick. I was jamming it. The leads are so awesome. Those like jazzy breaks were so fucking cool. It was very like reminiscent of Atheist and had some like cynic kind of vibes to him a little bit as well. But then just like fucking slamming brutal in a lot of those parts too. Your vocals are so sick. So I just wanted to give you guys props on that new record, or we'll say new, is out in 2012. But you said you guys are
full length, but we released 2 EPs after that.
Did you? Okay.
There's the Book of Suffering, Tome 1 and Tome 2. That came out after that. So there's 8 more tracks, which basically is another full album.
Yeah.
And those are the modern Cryptopsy EPs, which is the lineup that is now, which is actually the longest running Cryptopsy lineup of Flo Mounier, myself, Christian Donaldson, and Olivier Pinard, Ollie Pinard, who's in Cattle Decapitation now.
Yeah, that guy's incredible.
So we're still the 4 of us, and we're hammering out a new full length record now. Amazing.
So perfect timing, and I apologize for not knowing that EP. I'm going to jam that shit as soon as we get off here, actually, because
but it's a perfect thing. We've been independent since the self-titled, and
really
the fact that you, an avid metal person, doesn't know that we have 2 EPs out is even more motivation to go sign a record deal, which we're about to do.
Killer. Well, I hope you sign a killer deal, and I feel like a total asshole, but I promise you I will jam the shit out of them and get back to you. So Colin says, did y'all already discuss why they decided to go for EPs lately instead of full lengths? Tomb 1 and 2 are amazing.
Yes, simple answer. It takes Cryptopsy a very long time to write stuff. The goal of the EPs was so that we could release more material more quickly, so that we could tour more often. The reality of that is that is not what happened. It just, circumstances happened, people had children, life happened, and we didn't release as quickly as I wanted to, as we initially planned to. But that's exactly why we started doing EPs. And we were supposed to do a 3rd tome, but once we started getting in the communications with a record label, they encouraged us not to, and to do a full length.
Awesome. So you guys are in the middle of that writing process now?
Yeah, it's going. We're doing it actually on Zoom. which is
Wow.
crazy. We started writing the new Cryptopsy album in a cabin up in the woods, the exact week that Trump did the travel bans.
Oh my gosh.
So we just watched the world just collapse around us
Yeah.
as we were drinking far too many craft beers. Lots of sours, actually. It was really funny. We'd wake up every morning slightly hungover. We'd drive into town. I don't eat shrimp, but the other two guys eat shrimp. The other guys eat shrimp. So we buy like these rings of shrimp there,
Like
the cocktail shrimps.
Yeah, the cocktails.
And buy some sours. And we were having our shrimps and sours, and then we go back home to the cottage and just write riffs, which is really what it was. It was Chris just composing and us shooting ideas at him. We did that for 5 days. We got a whole bunch of great stuff, and now back home we've been doing it over Zoom. We have about, I don't know, we have a lot of material for a full length. We have about maybe less than a third somewhat going towards final versions of stuff. We have to keep, as Cryptopsy always does, we tinker right up to the end.
That's great to hear, man. Great to hear that you guys are utilizing this time and making the best of it through technology to still pump an album out, because I know it's super difficult. So
it's good. It's working in our favor, actually. So there was this big battle in the band that Flo liked to write in the jam room. Chris liked to write on his computer. How are we going to do this? And now we have no choice. So it's working to our benefit.
Yeah, I'd say never an easier time to do it with how just being able to produce it at home and being able to get a solid sound to show to the guys. I mean, that's really, even though we live fairly close to each other, the guys in Abiotic do, where our drummer's doing a lot of the production on the new album, we're still doing the same thing. So just sending ideas back and forth, working through songs back and forth, Google Drive has never seen so much action. And I think it's also worked in our favor too, because you can really sit on a song. You can listen to it over and over again. You can, hopefully you're not going anywhere in public, so you can walk around your house with some headphones on and jam the sections, jam the tunes, and really fine tune stuff, which is, it's a double-edged sword, because then you can go too far to one end and be too critical on certain things, where sometimes it's just like, it's good, leave it alone. But also it gives you that opportunity to really, really listen to it.
Sometimes you got to pick the scab.
Yeah.
We're lucky Chris has this plugin. I wish I knew what it was, because I keep saying it in the podcast and I keep saying it on other podcasts. He has this plugin that lets you listen to exactly what's happening in his Pro Tools while we're doing Zoom. It's really cool.
Whoa, that's huge.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. I wish I knew what it was.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get with you on that, because I think that would be a huge tool for some folks that I know that would love to get into
some slight latency, but it's totally manageable, especially if like he mutes his side, like his Zoom side, so that we don't hear, because that's where like the latency comes, and that fucks with.
Yeah, it's like what's coming out of your speakers versus what's coming out of your like sound card.
Exactly. Yeah.
All the fun technical stuff that I pretend to know a lot about, but I actually don't.
I really don't know much. I know Zoom. I got that.
Yeah, we got Zoom down, which has been a challenge in itself.
Live streaming is a pain in the ass. I give it to you for doing it well.
Well, cheers, man. Thank you so much. It's not without its hiccups, but like we talked about on your podcast, it's got its fun parts that are reminiscent to, being at a live show, where there's that sense of, okay, this is live and this is how we're doing it. So
that's what happened to me on Saturday. I was going live with Julien from Benighted.
Yeah.
And it just kept crashing, and I was like, this is such a great interview. It's okay. I'm just going to keep going with it. And I posted it on YouTube right afterwards.
Nice.
But so shout out to Julien for being patient with me. He didn't know that it wasn't working. I
good.
Played it.
He played
Actually,
it.
I haven't watched the video. I'm sure that my face was like stressed the whole time.
I did catch some of that, and I saw like it stop and start again, and I was like, I've been there. so much love to Matt right now. But offline, let's chat about it. And if I can help you in any way, I am more than happy to.
Cool.
Awesome, dude. So we talked a little bit about kind of touring. Do you and one of the kind of standard questions, but are there any tours that you did with Cryptopsy that really stick out that are like, this was my favorite tour, or this is my favorite city or country to play?
My favorite tour ever, it was so much fun, was Abysmal Dawn opening, Cryptopsy, Obituary, and Cannibal Corpse.
Oh my
you
God.
you can't have a better tour than that.
No.
We shared the bus with Obituary. They are the nicest dudes in the world.
Florida death metal.
We drank all their beer. They never complained.
Oh, good guys.
That was just so cool. I've had some fun on Europe as well. We did a tour with Cattle Decapitation, Decrepit Birth. We were sharing a bus.
Sick.
That was super fun back in 2013. That's another one for the books. But those two are probably my two favorite tours. And then there's that my first tour. You know, you always enjoy your first tour. My first US tour was Summer Slaughter 2008.
Wow.
That was super cool. The lineup was incredible.
What a first tour.
Yeah. Well, no, I had done Europe right before that, but
Okay.
it's just my first US tour, and it was Whitechapel opening, and then Psychroptic,
Crazy.
Born of Osiris, The Faceless, Despised Icon, Aborted, Cryptopsy, Vader, Cataclysm, and Black Dahlia Murder. It was
Wow.
just a freaking monster of a tour. I was terrified. We played 5 songs a night. We drank natural ice, far too many of them.
Oh, the
every
best,
night.
the greatest beer of our generation.
Yeah, it was super fun. But it was on that tour that I tasted my first Sierra Nevada.
Okay.
And my first Blue Moon, and I remember it was at the Masquerade, the old Masquerade.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. That place was cool.
Yeah, it was.
There was like a little grocery store around the corner. Me and Donaldson went over there, and he's like, "Oh, they have a Sierra Nevada. They have Blue Moon," and we bought that. And I remember I drank those that night. That was fun.
Nice.
All the horrible ones are fun after too. We went and played in Atlanta too at the Scion Rock Fest.
Oh, cool.
This is a long time ago. This is 2012, 2010.
Yeah.
And it was with Mastodon. I think Neurosis was playing.
Wow.
And it was like a fly-in, fly-out. And it snowed like this much in Atlanta. And all the planes were grounded for days and days. It's like It was a Sunday we were flying out. Your next flight is on Wednesday.
Oh, no.
And we were like, no, we all got to go to work. We got stuff to do. So we rented a minivan. We all climbed into a minivan and drove up to Montreal.
Oh, fuck.
It took us, I think it was 24 hours straight. It was brutal. But
it's
funny
super
now.
brutal.
It's funny.
Yeah, funny now, but yeah, we did a similar drive. We had a show in Wisconsin, and then something happened where it was like one promoter who had multiple shows, and he sketched out, or something happened where some of the shows canceled. So we had a day, and then we drove from Wisconsin to Vancouver.
Ooh,
It was not fun.
No.
So we got
We had
one
crew with us too. It was brutal.
Oh, geez. So you guys were packed nice and tight.
Yeah, it was like this.
We got a question in the chat, and then I will let you enjoy the rest of your night with your beautiful children. What is your favorite Cryptopsy album, not None So Vile, and why?
It's None So Vile. No, Whisper. I like Whisper a lot. There's some really amazing songs on that are just so much fun to play. They're so aggressive, so fast, but it's None So Vile.
Yeah.
You know, we play to this day. I hope that we put out this new record and that it makes an impact so that we can play a little bit less of them, but we play 5 tracks sometimes on a set from None So Vile. And we can do it because the tracks deserve to be played.
Agreed. Yeah,
The
it's one of
aggressiveness,
those records.
the melody, the grooves, it's unbeatable.
Yeah, I agree. So you heard that, Brad. Whisper, but None So Vile. Sorry. Matt, thank you so much for coming on, man. I sincerely appreciate it. Like I said, I sincerely appreciate your hospitality into the podcasting world, and keep an eye out for Vox&Hops because yours truly will be on an episode airing fairly soon, I hope. And keep an eye out for new Cryptopsy, which hopefully comes out this year, but if it doesn't, is totally understandable. And hopefully we can do some shows together once shows become a thing. I would absolutely love it. And is there anything you'd like to plug before we go? Where can people listen to Vox&Hops if they've never heard it? And if you've been living under a rock for 20 some odd years and haven't heard of Cryptopsy, where can we find you?
Okay, cool. So let's start with Cryptopsy. Cryptopsy is available everywhere on all the streaming services, and our website's down now, so I can't throw you there. That's my fault. We'll fix that soon. But Vox&Hops is available at on all podcast platforms, and it's also available on my website, www.voxandhops.com. That's VOXANDHOPS.com. And I'm releasing episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday until social isolation is finished. So I got lots of stuff coming to keep you guys busy at home. You can listen to a podcast while you clean your house, while you cook. It's much less invasive as watching a TV show. And tomorrow I'm hosting, every Thursday I host the Vox&Hops Thirsty Thursday virtual hangs. These happen at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Times. It is a open hang to everyone. You come, you join. The link is available on the Vox&Hops Facebook page. You just come out, join me, some of the other Vox&Hops alumni, some Vox&Hops heads, my friends come on, and we have a chat for an hour every Thursday while sharing a craft beer. So I invite you all to come join me tomorrow night.
That's awesome, Matt. I definitely need to get on one of those. Brian Stevens says Matt and puts up a couple of horns. So again, thanks, Matt, so much for coming on. If you are free, which there's no reason that you shouldn't be, tomorrow night, 8 p.m., go hang out in the Vox&Hops Thirsty Thursday. And Matt, thanks again so much. Let's chat again soon.
Yes, cheers, everyone. Thank
cheers,
you for tuning
bud.
in.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Take care. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on what is episode 7 of the Big Shred podcast, which is pretty crazy to me. I keep saying we when there isn't anybody else. It's just me, but we've been doing this now for a few weeks. I've been having a great time. I've been having a great time getting to chat with some of my favorite people in the industry. I've got a ton of great interviews coming up. I don't want to give too much away, but I'm pretty much booked, it looks like through June. So if you are wanting to take a peek in the mind of some of your favorite folks in the underground metal music industry that do some big shreds, so I'd say a big shred can go across all instruments, across all genres, across all professions in the music industry. If you're sick at front of house, you're doing a big shred. And yeah, I think you guys will really enjoy what we've got coming up. Again, shoot me a message or an email, thebigshredpodcast at gmail.com, or put a comment on the stream for folks that you'd like to see me interview, for other things you'd like to see on the podcast. Definitely check it out on Spotify, on YouTube. So this episode, along with the other episodes, will be on everywhere that you can stream podcasts, along with YouTube. So we'll go ahead and we'll plug one more time. So the Big Shred Podcast, you can check us out on Twitter, which, like I said before, I'm still figuring out how to use exactly. Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, and of course on the good old Facebook. So eventually you're probably catching this on the Abiotic page or my personal page. Eventually we're going to be moving this over to the Big Shred Podcast Facebook page. And please give it a like, give this a share. If you enjoyed it, share this with your friends. And thanks for hanging out. I will catch you guys next Wednesday. Take care.